This is the story of Lil OT, the Hamilton rapper who survived 52 bullets raining into his family home, who tried to warn young people that the streets were a trap, only to be gunned down in a mall parking lot just 4 days ago. His real name was Omar Nia Muhammad. He was only 24, and yet his story fits a pattern we've watched play out far too many times in this scene. What makes Lil OT's tragedy different is the timing. 7 months earlier, someone found him outside Kelsey's restaurant in Burlington and shot him. He survived and sat down for a raw, unfiltered interview, telling the camera that so many kids joining the streets think it's a game, but it's anything but. Shootouts, losing friends, never laughing the same again. He laid it all bare. Then, on February 9th, 2026, his clock ran out. Today, we unpack who Lil OT really was, how he rose, the 2023 shooting that should have changed everything, and what we know about who ended his life, and why. Who was Lil O? Omar Nia Muhammad entered the world around 2001 or early 2002 in Hamilton, Ontario. For those who don't know, Hamilton sits about an hour from Toronto. But unlike the GTA, it rarely gets the spotlight in Canadian rap. The city runs rough, gritty, working class, and the streets pulse with the same dangerous energy found anywhere else. That environment molded Lil OT from day one. And like many in this lane, his music didn't start in a studio. It began after a stint behind bars. One source claims he served roughly 18 months on gun charges before dropping his first track. That detail hasn't been fully verified, but it sets the scene. Reports also tie him to drug and firearm offenses back in 2020. When he returned home and dropped his debut single, First Day Out, that title wasn't just clever, it was literal. His earliest tracks appeared on SoundCloud in late 2020, with his account dating to February 5th. From there, he built his movement solo, releasing songs track by track under his own label, Dirty North Incorporated. His sound fit perfectly within the Toronto and GTA rap scene. Raw, melodic, dark, and reflective, filled with stories of survival, betrayal, loss, and the weight of violence. Artists like Doovie, Hood Baby, Peppa, Jay, Neat, and Basto occupies similar lanes, but Lil OT carved his own dangerous corner, and it worked. The come-up was real. Between 2020 and 2023, Lil OT steadily rose with tracks like Letter to My Dog, Violence, Trouble Child, and believe it or not, streams climbed over 1 million for Letter to My Dog, nearly 900,000 for Violence, and 272,000 YouTube views on its video. January 2023 saw his debut album, Jamesville, a 14-track statement that changed everything. It hit number 4 on iTunes Canada, making Lil OT the first Hamilton artist ever to break that barrier. A billboard in downtown Toronto advertised the project, a testament to a star on the rise and a life, dancing on the edge of fate, for someone grinding independently. Without a major label in his corner, now those numbers weren't just stats, they were proof that Lil OT was building something real. Jamesville racked up over 10 million streams across platforms, and his total career streams eventually eclipsed 15 million. Monthly listeners on Spotify hovered around 10,000 before his Death Not Superstar territory. But a loyal, organic fan base that felt every lyric, every story he told. Collaborations with bigger Toronto names opened doors he'd never imagined. He appeared on tracks like Ride With Me and Ghetto Vibes, each connection pulling him closer to the larger scene. But here's the brutal truth about Lil OT's world and, really, the world of so many artists in this lane. The music could be working. The numbers could rise. Recognition could build. None of it mattered to the streets. The streets don't care about streams. And they proved it in November 2023. That's when the danger came knocking literally on his family's front door. Whoosh are bullets. 52 rounds ripped into his Hamilton home near Beach Boulevard and Wickham Avenue. Not a warning shot. Not a drive-by with a handgun. Over 50 rounds tore through the walls aimed at the people he loved. 6 family members were inside. Somehow, impossibly, not a single one was hit. Lil OT wasn't there that day. His family bore the risk. and the shooter clearly knew exactly where to strike. Investigators eventually pointed to a name, Ahmed Isaac Hussein, and this is where the story takes a chilling turn. Isaac Hussein wasn't some random assailant. He was a former friend, a music associate, someone from Lil OT's own circles, someone he likely trusted. Police wiretaps caught Isaac Hussein admitting to the attack. He was arrested in April 2024 and pleaded guilty in December 2025. 2. Discharging a firearm with intent to endanger life and possessing a firearm while prohibited. But his legal trouble didn't stop there. First-degree murder charges loom over him for the death of Shadon Store, a Hamilton man killed just before Christmas 2022, Kamal Deep. Dalawal is listed as a co-accused in that same case. Think about what that means. The man who tried to obliterate Lil OT's family is locked up in Maplehurst Correctional Complex, facing first-degree murder charges for another killing. That's the company surrounding Lil OT, the caliber of danger in his orbit. Police haven't tied the 2023 Drive-By directly to his February 2026 murder, but when someone has already tried to wipe out your family, you know the target on your back isn't going anywhere. The most haunting part of Lil OT's death is how openly he warned people it was coming. Not the exact time or place, but the reality of the life he led and the consequences that followed. In July 2025, he gave his final interview with 6 Entertainment on YouTube, a video, now with roughly 32,000 views. What he said then reads like a prophecy. Asked about the scariest day of his life, he recounted near-death experiences. Getting caught in shootouts, being shot at, narrowly surviving life-threatening chaos. He said he had never been in a wild car accident, but he'd survived far worse. Loss shadowed his words. His exact phrasing, he doesn't even laugh the same anymore. Life changes you, he warned repeatedly. A lot of these young boys joining the streets think it's fun out here. His words, and it's not fun out here. Not a lyric, not a hook, not a punchline, it was a warning. Punchline, it was a warning. That was him staring into the camera, telling anyone who would listen that this life will change you, that you don't walk out the same person. Everybody copes differently, he explained. He had felt losses that cut to the bone and he lived through them. He survived to warn the youth. It's not worth it. 7 months later, he wouldn't survive. His final moves? After the 2023 shooting and watching his former associate get locked up, Lil OT kept creating. House arrest vibes dropped in 2025. Hinted at his reality, he was literally under house arrest while recording. Ghetto Vibes featuring Doovie hit the same year. On October 31st, 2025, he released what would be his final project, a 7-track EP called Written in Stone. Produced entirely by Caxi Stone. His Spotify bio called it a top 15 charting album, though specifics remain unclear. Social media teased more. Old School Vibes promised 2026. And reports suggested he was working on a 14-track album, Invisible Scars, potentially his biggest release. Pause on that title, Invisible Scars, and consider what came next. Streams stayed steady. Monthly Spotify listeners hovered near 10,000. Instagram around 27,000. For an independent artist from Hamilton without label backing, he built something real. Attempts on his family didn't stop him. Seeing a former friend in prison didn't stop him. The music continued relentless. Then came February 9th, 2026, Monday night, around 10:10 p.m. in the parking lot of Burlington Centre Mall, right outside Kelsey's restaurant at 777G near Fairview Street. An eyewitness inside a nearby restaurant told CP24 what unfolded. 3 shots. Chaos. Words lost in the panic. The witness rushed outside and saw Omar Nia Muhammad bleeding from a gunshot to the neck. They applied pressure, stayed with him until first responders arrived. 2 suspects fled. One jumped into a black SUV. A white SUV drove off simultaneously 2 vehicles. 2 escape routes. Lil OT was rushed to a nearby hospital, but it was too late. He didn't survive, 24 years old. Burlington's first homicide of 2026. Shortly after, the white SUV was found in Hamilton, abandoned and set ablaze, the classic move to erase evidence. As of February 13, 2026, no arrests. Police released surveillance footage of a dark-colored SUV near the scene, seeking public help identifying it and its occupants. The investigation, Hamilton Regional Police Service handed the case to their Major Crime Bureau. Constable Jeff Dillon, during a February 10th press conference, confirmed this was a targeted attack. His words, "They believe it was directed with no known risk to public safety, but the location amplified the recklessness. A shooting in a crowded open mall lot where anyone could have been hit." He emphasized the luck that no one else was struck, calling the act a blatant disregard for life. Detectives are probing connections between Muhammad and the suspects while exploring links to prior shootings in Hamilton. So much remains unknown. I won't speculate on unconfirmed details. What is clear? Lil OT's story ended violently, abruptly, and far too soon, leaving behind a trail of questions, grief, and a haunting warning that he had spent his life trying to share. The identities of those who carried out this shooting remain a mystery. No suspect descriptions have been released. Any link to the 2023 drive-by at Lil OT's family home hasn't been confirmed. Possible ongoing feuds that could have led to this moment remain unknown, and the motive is still unclear. Police say they are working to piece together the relationship between Omar Nia Muhammad and the suspects. Here's what is clear. Someone knew exactly where he would be that night. Someone arrived with at least one accomplice. Someone fired the shots and fled in multiple vehicles. And someone burned a getaway car in Hamilton to erase any trace. Nothing in that sequence was random. Every move was deliberate. The aftermath. Streams skyrocketed after Lil OT's death, as always happens in tragedies like this. Spotify monthly listeners jumped from roughly 10,000 to over 29,000 in just 4 days. Instagram followers grew from 27,000 to 29,000. Fans returned to his catalog, replaying that final interview, sharing clips of his warnings to youth, filling comment sections with rest in peace messages, calls for the city to do better, and memories of discovering his music for the first time. One Burlington community member told reporters, "You hear about this in the bigger cities, but you never expect it in your own neighborhood." Formal memorial services haven't been publicly announced. His family is preparing to honor him and will release details when ready. And that unreleased album, Invisible Scars, might still reach listeners posthumously. Those 14 tracks could become the final music anyone ever hears from him. To close this out, we return to something Lil OT said in that final interview about not laughing the same anymore, about losing people, changing him on a fundamental level, about a life that takes pieces of you never get back. And then he looked at the camera and said, "These young boys think it's fun out here, and it's not fun out here." He said that knowing someone had already fired 52 bullets into his family home. He said that knowing a former friend pulled the trigger. He said that after surviving shootouts, near-death experiences, and losses that cut to the core. 7 months later, someone caught him outside Kelsey's in a mall parking lot. The pattern repeats. The music begins to rise. Streams climb. A path out seems possible. But the streets don't let go easily. Feuds don't vanish because your Spotify numbers are growing. People who want you gone don't pause because you have a billboard in downtown Toronto. Lil OT became the first Hamilton artist to reach number 4 on iTunes Canada. 15 million streams now bear his name. An attempt on his family didn't stop him. His warnings came straight from his mouth. And now, he's gone at 2 for no arrests have been made. Police urge anyone with information to contact the Hamilton Police Major Crime Bureau at 9,058,254,776 or Crime Stoppers at 18,2,228,477. If you know something, say something. Whoever did this is still free. Rest in peace to Omar Nia Muhammad, known to the world as Lil OT, 24 years old. That's everything for this one. Subscribe if you're new here and want more stories like this. Share your thoughts on this case in the comments. I'll see you in the next video.